You see her, think about starting a conversation, but freeze. Your mind says go, but fear whispers, she'll think you're too old. And once again, you stay silent. You feel invisible, out of place, like an intruder in your own desire. The urge to approach is alive, but the insecurity weighs heavier than rejection. Here's the hard truth. Many mature men, despite their experience, feel outdated when faced with younger women. They believe they need to appear younger to be noticed. They mimic young men's style, force trendy conversations, and end up feeling ridiculous. But what if I told you the problem was never your age, but how you present yourself? This video is the practical cure for that silent insecurity. You'll learn, with clarity and strategy, how to approach a younger woman the right way, without forcing it, without shrinking, and without abandoning who you are. These 8 attitudes will redefine your presence, restore your confidence, and turn your fear into real magnetism. 1. First impressions are everything. Your presence speaks before your voice. In those first moments, how a mature man carries himself sets the tone for the entire interaction. A younger woman instantly senses who he is, or at least who he appears to be. Subtle attraction begins before a single word is spoken. Upright posture, steady gaze, relaxed expression, no rush, no tension. That's the silent power of body language. Many try to compensate for their age by overdoing it, when the true charm lies in internal control and natural composure. She instantly knows when he's trying too hard to appear youthful, and that breaks the spell. The key is not to act like a boy, but to show up as a man who has nothing to prove. Alpha posture isn't arrogance, it's presence. A simple example: instead of bragging or offering generic compliments, try something like, "You look like someone who knows how to enjoy the moment." That's rare these days. It's authentic, not flattering, and sparks curiosity. That first impression reflects your light spirit. A man who radiates peace within becomes instantly compelling. Younger women are surrounded by shallow noise. What draws them in is the rarity of a man who exudes emotional security, self-respect, and quiet elegance. It's not what he says, but how he exists in the space. This is where mature charisma shines. A man who enters a room with calm doesn't need to show off, he already stands out. And it's not magic, it's self-confidence paired with an attractive lifestyle. A man who reads good books, takes care of his body, speaks with clarity, and dresses with intention says a lot before he even introduces himself. Women notice that in seconds, and it's in that instant, before the first hello, that Stoic seduction begins. A subtle game of energy and restraint. It's where many stumble, rushing to fill the silence. But maybe true power lies in learning how to let that silence speak, because within it, the second move is already taking shape. 2. Don't be a try-hard uncle. Elegance lives in discretion. One of the biggest mistakes mature men make is trying to keep up with the slang, memes, or lifestyle of the younger crowd. When he drops a trend out of context or dresses like a teenager, he loses the exact charm his maturity brings. Subtle attraction dies the moment authenticity gives way to imitation. What captivates a younger woman is the contrast. A man who's lived, learned, and now walks calmly where others still run. Assertive communication here doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be refined. A sincere compliment delivered with elegance is more seductive than a rehearsed joke trying to sound hip. For instance, instead of saying "you're fire," say, "There's something effortlessly calming about you." That shows emotional intelligence, seductive discretion, and mature charisma, without trying to compete with younger guys. She's not looking for a silver-bearded bro. She's looking for a man who knows himself. Lightness of spirit doesn't mean being silly. It means you can laugh at yourself without becoming the joke. It means you can talk about current things without needing to dominate every trend. The man with elegant initiative listens more than he speaks, and when he does speak, it counts. He doesn't aim to impress. He simply reveals who he is effortlessly. That radiates emotional security, something younger women quietly crave. Self-respect means he doesn't need to fit into her world. He just needs to show the worth of his own. If he enjoys jazz, wine, literature, or mountain hikes, so be it. That's what builds an attractive lifestyle. A mature man who doesn't pretend to be anyone but himself. He approaches with calm, observes, feels the moment, and lets his essence do the talking. That's Stoic seduction. And it's exactly this contrast between youth and groundedness that creates tension and desire. Ironically, the less he tries to fit in, the more magnetic he becomes. Elegance lives in discretion, and the next attitude is what transforms curiosity into genuine connection. 3. Style isn't appearance, it's a reflection of who you've become. A common mistake many men make is thinking they need to dress modern to attract a younger woman. But real style isn't about brands. It's about alignment between who you are and how you present yourself. A man who wears what reflects his personality with elegance radiates effortless authenticity. What draws attention isn't the latest look, but a man who wears his choices with posture and purpose. A well-tailored blazer, a linen shirt, clean leather shoes, even a classic watch are details that reflect self-care and good taste. It's not about showing off, it's about mature charisma. An attractive lifestyle starts in small habits. How he walks, how he speaks, what he consumes. The external always mirrors the internal, and a woman can read that at a glance. This attention to aesthetics isn't vanity, it's self-respect. A younger woman notices when a man values himself, not because he tries to look handsome, but because he cares. A clean shave, a subtle fragrance, well-maintained skin. These are quiet signs of self-confidence and emotional intelligence. It's not about looking young, it's about looking alive, present, whole. That's irresistible. And the most powerful thing? A stylish man never talks about style. He simply lives with lightness of spirit, knowing that every detail of his appearance is an extension of his presence. This touches something deep in female psychology, the feeling of being around someone who knows themselves. And someone who knows who they are, knows exactly what and who they want. That's why style is a silent language that sets the tone before a word is spoken. And when that presence is paired with a respectful attitude, the atmosphere begins to shift entirely. 4. The power of voice and listening. Speak without trying to convince. A younger woman doesn't expect a mature man to be a showman. She wants a master of calm. In this case, your voice is a powerful tool when used well. Speaking slowly, with a steady tone and purposeful pauses, communicates inner control and quiet confidence. It's not about how much you say, but how you say it. A meaningful conversation begins when your tone speaks louder than your words. Assertive communication here is the balance between saying what's necessary and truly listening. Instead of trying to prove himself, the man who listens with presence shows he's mastered the art of subtle attraction. Active listening is a form of mature charisma. Eye contact, thoughtful reactions, and space for her to express herself without interruption or judgment. That creates instant and genuine connection. Mature men who talk too much about themselves, trying to justify their value, often end up pushing her away. The secret is to show, not tell. Speak less than you know, and listen more than you feel like. Ask deep questions like, what's been inspiring you lately? Or are you more into city life or the peace of nature? That demonstrates emotional intelligence and a light spirit. That's where Stoic seduction comes alive. The man who knows when to be silent creates room for her imagination to bloom, for her to dream, to wonder, to be intrigued by his mystery and elegance. It's like good music. It's not every note that moves you, it's the space between them. And often, that pause is what makes the heart beat faster. She remembers the man who made her feel interesting. Genuine exchange always beats self-promotion. Mastering this balance between voice and listening lays the foundation for something deeper and magnetic. And when a conversation flows like that, what follows isn't planned, it's inevitable. 5. Don't try to impress, spark curiosity. One of the clearest signs of insecurity is over-effort. When an older man starts listing achievements, travels, assets, or degrees to prove he's worth it, he comes across as someone still seeking approval. Younger women aren't impressed by showing off. They're drawn to what sparks curiosity. And that comes from comfortable silence, grounded presence, and quiet elegance. Subtle attraction is all about revealing yourself slowly. Instead of telling her your whole life story in 5 minutes, why not let her ask? When a man shares a detail at the right time, it becomes more valuable. For example, instead of saying, I've traveled the world, say, I like getting lost in old cities. Florence taught me a lot. That opens a space for her to wonder, to ask, to imagine more. This is where internal control becomes magnetic. A man who feels no urgency to prove anything radiates. He knows his value doesn't need to be explained, it's felt. That quiet confidence, that assertive communication without loudness, is what stirs female psychology. He doesn't say much, but he knows exactly when to say something that lingers. Sparking curiosity means knowing how to play with the invisible. It's not manipulation, it's a dance with the natural rhythm of the conversation. A man with alpha posture understands. Better to be remembered for one intriguing phrase than forgotten after a long speech. Fewer words, more weight. Less exposure, more magnetism. And when he gets that right, he creates the perfect space for something deeper to emerge. Because everything said with lightness and sincerity becomes the doorway to the next gesture. The one that isn't spoken but felt. 6. Visual contact. The gaze that connects without pressure. The eyes are one of the most powerful and overlooked tools for real connection. Many older men avoid eye contact for fear of seeming too forward, while others overdo it trying to dominate. The magic is in finding balance, a gaze that signals presence but never pressure. A calm, steady look with a slight softness communicates emotional safety and a subtle interest that speaks louder than any pickup line. It's within that visual space that female psychology works its intuition. She feels whether she's being seen or merely watched. The man who masters the gaze shows mature charisma with a look that lasts just 1 second longer than expected. It's not a challenge, it's a silent invitation. He doesn't stare her down, he acknowledges her. And that's powerful. Used wisely, the visual touch goes beyond words. It builds intimacy without contact and leaves impressions without noise. During conversation, holding eye contact at the right moments, especially when she's opening up, shows emotional intelligence. And when he looks away at the perfect time, he invites curiosity. That's Stoic seduction in action, expressing without oversharing, impacting without invading. The key is rhythm. A gaze that comes and goes at the right pace builds tension, but also gives her space to breathe. Subtle attraction lives in those exchanged glances that seem casual, yet awaken something deeper. She knows when there's truth in the way a man looks at her. And when she feels it, she relaxes. She trusts. That's the beginning of emotional openness. And that kind of openness, no matter how quiet, sets the stage for a bolder move. One that doesn't feel rehearsed, but simply flows from the energy that's already there, quietly pulsing. 7. Speak less about the past, show the present. Mature men carry stories, victories, pain, and wisdom. And that's valuable. But when a conversation turns into a parade of past memories, the energy of the interaction loses momentum. A younger woman doesn't want a man stuck in nostalgia. She wants to feel that he's alive in the present. Subtle attraction happens when he shares the now with enthusiasm, not like someone clinging to what used to be. Often out of insecurity, a man tries to prove his worth by listing past accomplishments. But real value is in how he lives today. How he takes care of himself, what he reads, who he surrounds himself with, how he responds to the unexpected. That's an attractive lifestyle. A simple story about a current habit can be more interesting than any old title. Saying something like, "Every morning I walk in silence before the world wakes up," can be far more seductive than reading out your resume. Assertive communication in this context means knowing what to say and why. When a man speaks about the present with spark in his eyes, he radiates effortless authenticity. He shows that he's still growing, exploring, and connecting. That stirs something deep in the female psyche. The feeling of being near someone alive, in motion, evolving. That evokes admiration and desire. And more than that, a mature man who lives in the present inspires. He shows, without needing to explain, that time hasn't diminished him, it has refined him. That's mature charisma, being at peace with the past, but fully rooted in the now. That makes her want to be part of his life, not just hear about it. The connection becomes something created in real time, not a monologue of old glories. That shift from what was to what is opens the door to something far more important, the sense of a future. And that's where the next move begins to speak volumes, without needing to promise anything. 8. Suggest, don't push. Invite with class, not pressure. After a good conversation, exchanged looks, and a real connection, the most delicate moment arrives, the invitation. Many men mess this up by rushing or sounding desperate to lock in a next meeting. But the mature man who practices Stoic seduction knows, True elegance is in suggestion, never in pressure. The elegant initiative is the one that offers an option, not a disguised demand. A good way to do this is to link the invitation to something she mentioned earlier. If she said she likes live music, he might say, "There's a small spot I know with a great live band. I have a feeling you'd enjoy the vibe." That's assertive communication with a light touch. No anxiety, just stylish suggestion. And if she declines, a man with inner control smiles, thanks her for the moment, and walks away with grace. That is subtle attraction too. A woman can instantly feel whether a man's invitation comes from self-respect or emotional need. She knows if he's offering connection or begging for attention. Mature charisma is maintaining ease, even when things don't go as hoped. That calm confidence from a man who knows his worth never goes unnoticed, and often it's the final spark. The key is knowing the invitation isn't the end of the conversation, it's the start of a new direction. It's her choice whether or not to take that step. The man who masters this moment radiates emotional security, alpha posture, and above all, mystery and elegance. He doesn't push, he plants the right seed in the right soil. And when that seed is planted with class, it can bloom at the right time. Because in the end, anything real and valuable doesn't come from rushing, but from harmony between presence, intention, and respect. It's time to stop hiding behind the fear of seeming too old, and start standing tall as the man you truly are, mature, confident, compelling. What you've learned here isn't theory. These are real, tested, powerful actions that will change how a woman sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. So tell me, are you going to keep watching other men, less prepared than you, take the spotlight just because they had the courage to be real? Will you keep believing your age is a weakness, when in truth, it's your greatest asset? Or will you apply these 8 attitudes and prove to yourself that the fire hasn't gone out? It was just waiting for the right direction? Drop a comment and tell me, which of these attitudes did you need to hear the most today? And if you made it all the way here, write this in the comments. My age works in my favor. Only those who watch till the end will get it. Thank you truly for being here. If this video spoke to you, hit that like button, share it with a brother who needs it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can keep growing together on this journey of self-mastery, presence, and wise seduction.